tying up another one of the Carrie Stevens patterns from the Hilyard book today. This is called the Jungle Queen. Very simple pattern, straightforward, kind of bright and flashy in the colors. Definitely a nice attractor pattern with the pink and the yellow in it. The barring of the Grizzly adds some really nice contrast. Very simple body, just tinsel body with black hackle for a tail in here, and some pink hackle for the throat. Nice fly to tie. Pretty one to throw. So that's the Jungle Queen. I'll get started tying. I'm going to start the Jungle Queen with my hook in the vise. This is a Partridge CS5-9X. I'm going to go ahead and debarb the hook. I'm going to put a layer of thread on here of some white thread. This is a Danville 3/0 waxed monocord. You don't have to, because it is a tinsel body, so if you don't have any white, you could use the black, but I'm going to go ahead and go with the white, just in case I get any gaps in the tinsel or anything, they don't show up quite as much. I'm going to attach this about 2 eye lengths below the eye of the hook. I'm going to run this down and put a base layer of thread down, and then I'll tie in my tag, which is silver tinsel. I'm going to stop with my thread about 3/4 down the hook shank. That's where I'll tie in the silver tinsel. I'm using this is just a Danville silver and gold Mylar tinsel in a size 10. I'm going to tie this in with the gold side out. That way it will flip over to the silver side when I start to wrap it in. Advance my thread down the hook shank to the end of the shank, which would be the end of the tag. This particular hook, you could go as far back as about the barb if you want. That would be pretty much the end of the hook shank, or a little bit shorter. Sometimes these tags on some of these long streamers like this are a little bit shorter. Bring my thread back up to about where I started. Turn the hook over in the vise, and then I'll apply that tag, the tinsel for the tag. I'm going to go ahead and attach my hackle pliers. This shorter little piece, this is a cutoff from some other ones that I tied from putting in the body, and the shorter pieces get a little bit harder to hold on to. So I'll put my hackle pliers on there just to give me a little bit better grip to be able to wrap that in. The key to keeping these nice and smooth is staying at the same angle that you're applying it throughout. So even if you start to overlap a little bit, then keep overlapping throughout the course of it. If you change that angle in the middle of applying that tinsel, that's when you get little bumps in it. I got just a slight one right there, but that's going to get covered up by the tail in just a second. I'll secure that in, cut away the excess, wrap back just a hair. Now I'll put in the tail. For the tail, it's just black hackle, so I'm going to use some black schlappen. It's a softer hackle. You could use a rooster cape hackle or saddle hackle with stiffer barbs if you want to. I'm going to take a schlappen feather here. I'll just show you how I select these hackles for the tail. I'm going to cut away. You could keep a little of this fluff in the tail if you want to, but I'm going to trim this away right down at the rachis. All that fluff is out of there. Then I'm going to, down here at the bottom, select probably somewhere around 3/8 of an inch along the rachis there. I don't know how many barbs that would be. I'm going to get this out perpendicular to the rachis so the tips will even up. And then just peel those off. Then I'm going to bunch that all together. I'm going to tie that in. I've got some of the barbs a little uneven. You could try and even those up just a little bit. I don't think it's really going to matter if there's some of them that are a little bit uneven. You're going to want to tie that in so it extends past the bend of the hook, maybe about 1/4 of the shank. I'm going to trim this a little bit at an angle to clean that up, because when you peel that off the rachis, you get these little curly cues at the very end. I don't want those to bulk that up. I'm going to try and minimize the bulk back at this back end a little bit. A little bit more wax on my thread. Now I'm going to tie in the body, which is again the silver tinsel, same number 10 Danville gold and Mylar tinsel. I'm going to tie this in with the gold side out. I'm going to extend that maybe about 1/4 of the way up into the body. That's just to secure it. I'm not as concerned about having a nice smooth underbody, because the tinsel has a lot of give in it from the standpoint of, if it's a little bit of a not so smooth underbody, it won't translate into that tinsel as well. Now what I'm doing here is just adding in some thread wraps to try and taper that down from the increased diameter from the tail down to the hook shank. That's just to get a little bit smoother. If you have too much of a ledge there, then it does put a gap in the tinsel. And if you're going to tie in with that, then you're better off probably putting in a double layer of tinsel. So you would tie the tinsel in up at the front and wrap all the way down and back up. Thread up here at the end of the body, I'll go ahead and apply that tinsel. I want to make certain that first wrap goes all around the tail, covers up any thread wraps. Securing that end at the end of the body, I'll now trim away the excess. You can see I've got a little bit of a bump back here because of that tail that's tied in there. Other than running the thread, further up and maybe getting 2 or 3 layers of thread in there to bring everything to the same diameter as this right here in the tail, there's just no way of really smoothing that off that I'm aware of. If anybody else knows a way or a technique, by all means, include it in the comments below. If I am going to tie these and I want to eliminate that, generally I'm putting 2 or 3 layers of thread on here, possibly even before I put the tail in. With my thread up near the eye of the hook, I'm going to change over to the orange thread. The head on the Jungle Queen is black with an orange stripe. I'm using a Danville 70 Denier. This is a burnt orange color. I'm I'm putting the orange on first because I'll put the black stripes on later, because if I make it all black and then put the orange on top of it, the black will darken up that orange, and I don't want that. So I'm going to make it all orange with black bands on it. A little wax on that. I'm going to attach right behind the eye of the hook, bring my thread backwards, catching the white thread and the tag, and trim those away. And come back to the end of the head here, and this is where I'm going to tie in the throat. The Jungle Queen is very simple. It just has the tag, the tail, the body of Tinsel, and a throat of Pink Hackle, and I'm just using some pink schlappen for this. I do the same procedure as I did with the black that I did for the tail, and I just pull out 3 clumps here that I'm going to tie in for the throat. I tie 1 in underneath and then 1 on each side. You want that to go about halfway down the body. Throat all tied in. I'm going to clean this space up. There's no belly on this. There's no under wing like a peacock curl or anything like that, or bucktail. I'm just going to clean this up now for tying in the wings. The wings on the jungle cock are very simple. It is 2 pink hackles flanked on each side by 1 grizzly hackle dyed yellow. So there's a pink hackle right here, and these I'm just using. These are a whiting American cape, rooster cape for the pink, and a whiting rooster saddle for the grizzly. So the rooster saddle is a little bit narrower than the cape hackles, but they still work. You can find some on there usually that are going to be a little bit wider like this that work pretty well. Then there's a cheek of jungle cock on it. No shoulder or anything, just straightforward pink and yellow. I'm going to match these together, concave sides together, so that it's all flat, getting my tips even. I'll trim away the excess rachis on both of those, so I have just left with just a little handle here tying these feathers in. I'll tie the one on my side first so that you can see it going in. And this goes in not on the top or on the side, but more or less right in this upper quadrant, right this area, not the side here or on the top, but in this upper quadrant area right here. I'm going to make certain that that is running down right along the hook shank. If it's cocked up just a little bit, I don't think it's a big deal, but you don't want it twisted over. So you want this to be nice and flush against the side of the hook. Put the other side on, taking care to make certain I get those tips matched up. Generally, if you've processed your feathers and made your wings correctly, your tips are going to line up, as well as the base of the wings right here. And I tie those in right next to the other ones. So essentially both of them together are right up on top. I'm going to wrap that in pretty well because I'm pretty confident that it is the way I want it to be. Then I will double check it, and sure enough, See, both of them flatten out together and they're nice and perpendicular in this direction, horizontal and alongside the hook shanks like this. Hook shank, I should say, there's not two of them, or more than one, a plural. Now I'm going to shape the head, making certain I have everything covered up with the orange. I get most of that all covered up the way I want it. Don't have any real gaps, especially where the orange is going to be in the front of the back. Could be covered up by the black, but at least here I don't want any of the rachis from the wings poking through. I'm going to put some wax on my thread here, and I'm going to put in a whip finish to secure the orange thread. Trim away the orange thread, and I'm going to attach the black for the front and back black band. I'm using a Danville 70 Denier in black. Some wax on my thread. Wax, I have found, the more I use it, it seems to me that the more I see the benefits of using it, as opposed to I was not taught, or I did not learn fly tying using wax, but since I have started to use it and use it more often, I find more often than not it helps. In this case, the wax is gripping itself real well, that thread, so it takes less wraps of thread in there to bind in and hold itself and do its job, and it will hold together much better. At least that's what I have found. I suppose there's a reason that older fly tyers used the wax a lot, as they did. Maybe us young guys could learn something. With that black band in place, I'll put in a 3 or 4 turn whip finish to secure it right on top of that band. You just want to divide the head into 3 sections. You'll have a black band in the rear and a orange band in the middle, and then we'll put another black band up front. So I attach my thread up front, and I'm just wrapping back enough to get a more or less same width black band in the front. The one in the back, I suppose, could have been a little bit wider, but it seems to work and match up enough with the orange. Wax on my thread. And I'll put in a 4 turn whip finish. Put away my thread. I'm going to put some head cement on this. This is some fly tight head cement. It is a thinner head cement, so it will soak right down into those thread wraps. And then I'll come back and put 2 coats of a clear lacquer on it. Now, I did get some head cement inside the eye there, and always keep some scrap feathers or peacock pearl on hand, your tying desk, just for this, that you can run down through the eye to clear it out. So that is the Jungle Queen. Pretty little fly with the pinks and the yellows in here. Like I said, I'll go and put 2 coats of black or clear lacquer on that in a little bit, and that will complete the fly. So that's Carrie Stevens, Jungle Queen. Thanks for watching today. Thank you for joining me at the Vise today. I hope you learned a new pattern, at least a tip or trick here and there. If you'd like to help Dress Irons, you can like, comment, share, subscribe, all those wonderful things for the video. You can also head out to dressedirons.com where you can buy flies, tools, stickers, and merch, or you can join a growing community over on Locals at the Dressed Irons Fly Tying Guild. You can also donate to Dressed Irons if you want through the link at the bottom of the description. I thank everybody for their ongoing support, as it really does help the creation of these videos. But what's important is to remember, only fly tying. If you're not having fun, you're doing it wrong.